can recall during our 19-year run as a talk show, well, my 19 years run as a talk show host. And I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but I guarantee you can learn from it. Because one day you may be doing something like this. And, well, let me just get to it. A couple of things I have to do before we get into the fruits and vegetables or meat and potatoes. First and foremost, you can reach me by text at 412-559-2731. And I want to address something. Yeah, I'm going to be looking down here a lot at the actual camera. I will periodically look up at the lens. Okay? If I look like I'm asleep, I am not asleep. If I look like I'm ignoring you or disrespect you, I'm not. First of all, in 1986, I had a really bad accident. Let's just say that I can maybe tell you that as a sidebar later, but bottom line is the reason why I'm making this statement is I've had comments that I'm not looking at the audience and a few other things. You have to keep in mind when you have injuries due to, let's just say, people who weren't paying attention. And you know what? People make mistakes, so don't worry about it. But the thing is, I will be periodically looking. Okay? I will tell you that when I look into the lens of my camera on my cell phone, the very same cell phone where you can text me at 412-559-2731. But when I look at it, honestly, I feel like I'm an arrogant person. I know I'm doing the right thing theoretically, but first and foremost, a lot of what I say in any episode, it can come off as condescending. And I hope that all of you understand that's not what it's about. Honestly, it's the opposite. So I love y'all. So let me get down to the business at hand. First and foremost, I'm going to throw out some background, how I actually became a live talk show host. And I'm going to tell you some secrets and some wild things that happened. All right, it looks like Jack and George is there. Hi, Jack and George. And Brendan, sorry about the forehead up close, but it's a cell phone and it's hard to see. 13 people. Wow, I really didn't think too many people show up. God bless all of y'all. Love y'all. I love everybody. So if you don't love God or don't believe God's here, it's all good. It's all good. Let me get down to the business at hand. First and foremost, I was at a political rally in 2004 for President of the United States. And I was with some friends. Now, they were TV show hosts, and they were on public access. And I kind of was helping them out and what have you. I think I might have been filming. I don't remember exactly. And so individually, they both said, "El, you should be a talk show host." And I was like, a lot of you probably would have been laughing. Yeah, right, you know. But they were as serious as you could get. And so I said to myself, why are they even saying that? Why are they even thinking that? Ultimately, we're going to fast forward a wee bit. I became a talk show host. Excuse me, and a talk show producer. Yeah, before I was a host, I was a producer. We'll get to that. So here I am. And I said, okay, I'll at least I thought I'll be a producer. So at this point, I'm a talk show producer. And he said, you need to have a TV series. I'm thinking, yeah, right. Yeah, what am I possibly going to talk about? Come on, what am I going to talk about? That's what I was thinking, right? Well, then I was like, oh, okay. I kind of originally, to be quite honest with you, I was just, and hello to everybody, by the way. Hold up a minute. Jaden, wait a minute. I think that's Jaden. No, that's not Jaden. It's Jayla. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's hard for me to see unless I get real up close. But hello to everybody, and love you all for coming in. I appreciate your subscriptions if you want to be so kind. And but anyway, so I said to myself, okay, something I don't get it. Me? And I didn't really even know what I would talk about. Honestly, I didn't. And then I was sitting down in my house. I remember this. I was like, all right, I guess I'll do it. It's kind of like to please them, to be honest. And then I thought to myself, oh, this is not good, Albert. It's too easy. And what was I saying to myself internally? I was saying that it's too easy to become extremely arrogant because most human beings have an ego. We all know that. I said, you can't do it. You can't let it be about you. So that's when I thought, let's focus on the betterment, and the good qualities of humanity. So then I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I was excited, really, internally. And then I came up with a name. And I was like, what can I name it? And I got to tell you, for those of you who don't believe in a higher power, hey, I love you anyway. And I don't say that like you did something wrong. No. I say that because when a person is a person of faith, such as myself, is if an atheist finds out, oh, you are a person of faith, a lot of times they feel ostracized. I'm not going to do that to you. Or maybe you're a faith, let's just hypothetically speaking, okay? Let's say that you are an Orthodox Jew and I am a Buddhist, hypothetically speaking. Or maybe I'm a Hindu, or maybe I'm a Muslim, maybe I'm a Christian. Doesn't matter. There's a separation there. And unfortunately, it's too much. So anyway, I get that I want to try to get humanity to see the good things in themselves and in our human race. What am I going to name it? Is what my next thought was. What can I possibly name such a large, broad concept? And so almost within a trillionth of a second, whatever the smallest amount of time, I kid you not, the name Humanity Matters came in my head. Now let me explain. Originally, the TV series was not live, so it was Humanity Matters. A few years down the line, I said, well, I might as well go live. And there was a reason for that too. I may or may not get to that. There was a legitimate reason. At any rate, so I get into, well, okay, Let's let's find out if Humanity Matters is a good name. Because it came to my brain lightning quick. Matter of fact, it was like the speed of a light times two. It felt like it. I know in reality it wasn't, but that's how I felt. So I actually almost didn't take Humanity Matters because it came to in my brain literally like the speed of light. I am not being funny. And I literally started asking everybody I knew, including perfect strangers. I was like, what do you think of this name? Now, this is where it was amazing because it doesn't matter who I would ask. Everybody, and I asked a lot of people, they all were like, yeah, that's a great name. And at first I was kind of thinking, they're just being nice. But guys and gals, I will tell you, Humanity Matters is a profoundly wonderful name. Now, and I'm not saying because it was the name of our TV series. You can do a search in a search engine or even here on YouTube, and there's multiple people that have either that name or somewhere in their description, and you can look it up online. Well, at any rate, so I finally said, okay, I'm going to use it. Oh, my camera's trying to go south. It's not allowed unless I can go to. It's cold up in here. I'm not a fan of cold weather, I will tell you that. But another live stream, another night, morning or day. Any rate. So everything's set up. Now, what you need to understand when you are in public access, you can have the greatest TV series on earth. All the glory goes to God. I'm not claiming that title. But what I'm telling you is, if it is public access, it doesn't matter how good you are. You don't get paid a dime. As a matter of fact, you have to pay to do your TV series. You can be on par with the greatest talk show host of all time, and you won't get a penny. You have to pay. So that's one caveat. But another one is they don't really teach you anything. Or at least I don't want to say every television station in the United States that's public access is the same as ours was. But here's the deal. Basically, to give you an analogy or metaphor, I guess, what you got when you were in our organization or TV station, you essentially was like thrown into the swimming pool without any kind of lifeguard or any kind of information, for the most part. Now, you weren't even called a host unless you decided to have a TV series. You were a producer. But to tell you the truth, you were like a child without any training. So, I'm not complaining, no, because all the glory goes to God. I was able to swimming, to use the same silly metaphor or an analogy or whatever you want to call it. But finally comes the day that I'm doing my episode. I have a guest scheduled. First episode ever. Well, for whatever reason, my guest didn't make it. Here's the first time ever, and my guest didn't make it. Okay, now, you're probably thinking, or you may have, if it was you, you might be like, what am I going to do? You're going to be panicking, right? Well, I was for a minute, but I was blessed. My gentleman that I consider my second dad, Albert Goldsmith, decided he was going to be my first guest. Well, we agreed. We didn't have any idea what we was going to talk about, but at any rate, we got on TV. Well, I shouldn't say we got on TV, but we went into the studio. We had gone into it, and we filmed an episode, an hour-long episode. Now, I cannot remember the very first episode name, but I got through it. Eventually, it aired because at that time, it could be 2 to 3 weeks before your product would actually get on the television, TV stations, schedule. So finally, it gets on the air. And I had some feedback. And people were like, that was a nice episode, Al. Other people were like, that was a good one. Now, I felt good about that because, again, I had zero training. Certainly, I didn't know what to expect or how to handle a guest not showing up, right? But it came out fine. And I made one other mistake. Originally, that original episode was 30 minutes long. And I recall that because I had actually filmed 2 separate episodes that day. And my second dad was on both episodes, but we actually had a guest for the second one. I don't remember. It's been a long time. 2004. So we're talking really 20 years. Well, at any rate, we got that done. Well, one of the things that when I decided to become a TV show host, I said, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to say and do all the things they told me you're not supposed to do. I'm going to break the rules, brothers and sisters. And you better believe I broke the rules. Left, right, up and down and out of sight. So at any rate, what happened was about 2-3 years down the line, I found out that there's actually another category of series at the time. You could go live, and I had never known that. I just didn't. I don't know why, but I did. That's when I decided to go live. And why I decided was I would be bringing up on my episodes real groundbreaking things because God had blessed me. It's not me. I'm just the messenger, guys and gals. That's all that I am. If you get something that helps you in any way, it's not me. I am a messenger. I don't mean that I get messages from the higher power or the universe. It's not what I mean. But I mean, it comes from a different internal place, if you will, a spiritual place. I want to say, give me a minute. I got to look at this. I don't want to disrespect people. Sorry about the close up, but I don't really have a choice here. So, looks like Jayla. I didn't mention, I hope I said the name right. And then I got to see. I don't know if it's Zyvon or Zavon, but it's Zavion. Hi, hello to you also. I think what I'm going to do a lot of times, just so that you know, is spell out your name. That way, if I don't get the pronunciation right, I'm still giving you the respect that you deserve. And by the way, we all deserve respect. And I'm all about those things. But at any rate, let me get back to the business at hand. So I was blessed by the Lord God, or whatever you want to believe or not believe. And I would come out with really groundbreaking things and ideas. But what would happen would be a lot of times other producers would accidentally reveal, I'm trying to be polite, bless their hearts. Basically, there were people who, let's just say, took my ideas. And since mine was on tape and it would take 2 or more weeks to get out there, it looked like I was actually taking their ideas, that I was the one who this accidentally took it. I'm trying to be polite, but okay, I'm going to come out. They would steal my ideas. Yeah, they did. They would outright take my ideas and steal them. Now, don't ask me why, but that's what they had done. So when I found out about doing it live, I was like, oh no, they ain't doing this anymore. They are not. I love them spiritually and all, but you're not going to take my idea like that. And the only way I could do it was by going live. So I did. So then Humanity Matters became Humanity Matters Live. Now, I'm not going to get into all the particulars and background. What's important is to get to some of these challenges. Now, I'll fast forward it and go from there. So my first live episode I'd say it went okay. It went well. A lot of people liked it. But unfortunately, I don't know if this was systemic of all public access stations that go live. I don't know. But ours did not have what they call a 5-second delay. So if somebody came on and they said whatever they said, foul language, racist language, dangerous hate language, I don't care what it was. We could not, during the live, we couldn't prevent it. We also had no control over it, to dump it, if you will, to stop it. The only one who did was the men and women in the control room. And let's just say, bless their hearts, a lot of stuff they got through should never have gotten through. Like I said, bless their hearts. I don't know what the end game was, but I witnessed a lot of quote unquote mistakes, not just with my TV series, but across the board. I have no idea why. I don't know if it was incompetence. I don't know if it was intentional. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is there would be people that would call in that were outright evil. And we even had criminals. No offense to people who made mistakes, but vicious, hateful, evil criminals. And I don't think all criminals are evil. I'm saying these particular people were evil. We had a situation where we had a young child and her family on one of the lives. Now, this child was not a white child. She was what we in America would call a black young girl, child. And it was a situation where I had some African-American people on, and I was honored to do so. Although, to me, people are people. It doesn't matter what you look like. Kind of like that song Michael Jackson came up with. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Really, to me, it didn't matter what you were. Black, white, Native American, you name it. Well, at any rate, so we're live. That's one of these challenges that I'm going to tell you. In public access, or at least in our station, you didn't have a 5-second delay. And you couldn't do it yourself. You couldn't stop it. So unless the people in our control room did something, anybody and everybody got through. So one evening, I should say, I'm doing this live. Great family. And we get this call. And it was a pedophile and racist person. A pedophile and racist. So it happens. It comes through. I had never dealt with anything like that. So what did I do? Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am of the ancestry of Sicilian, Italian. Although Sicilians say we're not Italian, and Italian says you're not Italian. Let them figure it out. But to give you a reference, a lot of the movies like Goodfellas or The Godfather, things like, those movies, or The Sopranos and all that type of stuff. Most of those characters were based on, fake Italian mobsters. Some were based on, let's just say, real life Italian mobsters. And the majority of the Italian mafia, at least originally, were Sicilian. Yes, I'm of that ancestry. But at any rate, some stereotypes or stigmas are real. So when this person called in, I wasn't having it. Now, I say G-rated, but I handed that person, let's just say, a very, very, very rude awakening. And I was G-rated, but let's just say I opened up a whole universe of getting that person straight. It only took me about 2 to 3 minutes. I shouldn't have really have done it, but that was like one of the first times it's ever happened. That is another challenge. If you're going live on public access TV, at least in our situation, at our studio, you didn't have any protections. You had a double whammy because not only could you not prevent people from saying whatever they want to say, but you couldn't get rid of that call. And if the control room, for whatever reason, decide that they're not getting rid of it, you're stuck. Well, then I started having a few other people calling in just to be trolls. But those trolls made you, no offense to YouTube trolls, like I really care if I offend them. I love y'all, but I'm going to tell you, YouTube trolls, no. Because first of all, we as YouTube creators, content creators, and live streamers, if you will, we have controls. We can remove permanently anyone that goes across the line. We can get rid of that person. We could give them a timeout, or we could say, you're gone, you're blacklisted, if you will. You're barred. What our station couldn't do any of that. So you had to, for that live time, for that particular live episode, you had to deal with it. So it happened 1 or 2 times. And then I came up with a strategy. And I want you, if you ever are in a situation, like if you decide to do public access or some other new unknown way where you have an opportunity to do a live event, a television series, or whatever it may be, but there are no controls, you could actually employ the strategy that we came up with. That was the only way we could do it. And what I decided to do is I would tell my guests before we go on the air, if we get a mean person, we're suddenly all going to get extraordinarily quiet. And I would give a duration of time, which I won't reveal here. And the reason I won't reveal it because I'm not going to let any potential future trolls know. So anyway, we would, whatever undetermined, I know what time and how long, but we would do what we would do. And the reason for that was they could get anything they want to say in during the live. But by us employing that strategy, me employing that strategy, really, they couldn't get in on the rebroadcast or the rerun. So you might want to take some notes. If you ever think you want to be on live TV, just in case you get a situation where you don't have the power to get rid of that call. So we would basically not say a word. I mean, we would just get dead silent. And eventually, we stopped getting the vicious calls because what happened was they realized, whoever they were, they could not affect the episode anymore because God had blessed me to come up with this strategy, and it works. It works like you just don't know. But there are other challenges when you're doing a live TV series, and I faced a lot of them. For example, eventually, years later, might have been 2016, 17, 18, or 19, or even 2020. I don't remember yet what year. But our station finally, at least in theory, had the technology to do live Zoom and put it actually on live TV. The Zoom and the media would actually go over the airwaves as if they were in our studio. So one night, I should say, I got to move my arm. I'm sorry. It's having a little bit of pain every now and then. And only for a couple of seconds. So at any rate, I decide I want to interview this rock star, well, I should say, rock band from the country of Ireland. Yes, Ireland. So my cell phone, not this one, a different one, works perfectly on Zoom. Again, I don't know why. Theoretically, it didn't work right at first on the station's equipment. Now, you would think that they would have, 10 times better equipment than I would have had. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say bless their hearts. I don't know what was really going on, but bless their hearts. And it happened across the board to some of the best talk show hosts and producers and live on-air personalities at the station. It happened to all of us across the board. And I like I said, bless their hearts. But at any rate, so I'm interviewing and scheduled to interview a gentleman from the band, I believe it's Sky. I can't remember the last part. I think it's Sky Fever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Sky Fever. And they were located in the country of Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland. And I talked to one of the band members. And he stayed up probably, I don't know if it was 4 o'clock a.m. his time. I don't know what time it was. But whatever it was, we went on the air in our city at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And I don't know what time it was at that time for him. Because in the United States, at least in our Commonwealth, well, a lot of them, in the summertime, we are what they call an hour ahead. So, for example, Let me see what time it is. Give me a second here. I have 5:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. Well, in the summer, it would be, right now, would be 6:10 a.m. So what happens is when we in America change times, then you who may be overseas or wherever you are, you will be an hour, even another hour ahead. It's crazy. But at any rate, so this gentleman gets on. We're doing the Zoom, right? And it completely messes up. Now we're talking about a live episode, my friends, and an exciting episode. We're talking about across the ocean. He's live in Dublin, Ireland. I'm live in Pittsburgh, PA, in the United States. This was exciting. Not to mention, you remember how I said I was a pioneer, groundbreaking, all that? All the glory goes to God. But we were blessed to do this. Well, at first, all of a sudden, we couldn't get anything working. Bless their hearts. That's all I'm going to say. Bless their hearts. But eventually, I pretty much I wasn't a quote unquote official Christian at that time. So I had, let's just say that I had some conversations with the control room. And I essentially said, look, we're going to fix this, and we're fixing it now. And look, I'm not a dictator. I'm not a dictator devil. I'm not a dictator devil lover. Another time, another story. But I was not having it this time. I said, we're going to get them working, the video and the audio. And I want it done now. And trust me, when I got very, let's just say, persuasive, in a nonviolent, first of all, G-rated, kind way, but firm. And I said to them, basically, if this doesn't get done today, you will be reported. And if I don't see action out of the president or the director, I'll go to the board of directors. And I'll keep going as high as I have to. If they don't do something, I will report you and this entire station to the city of Pittsburgh. And I will work to see your contract go out the window. And trust me, I'm tired of what accidentally seems to be happening to my fellow producers. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do it right. And not only are we going to do it right, I don't want one mistake. You understand me? Basically, that's what I said to them, to their face, ladies and gentlemen. And I said, I got so, let's just say, not pleased. I told the gentleman, I said, if there is one dropped call, one, if there's one mistake, just one, I'm going to inform everybody and anybody that has the power to terminate you from this job. And if need be, everybody in this station, including the director. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not all that in a bag of chips. I'm a normal human being, but I don't play that. I don't tolerate it. And I don't take abuse, and I don't let anybody get abused And if you are doing wrong, I will address it. Make no mistake. Now, I'm not here trying to make it sound like I'm Superman. I'm a regular person. All the glory goes to God. The difference is I am not afraid to take it on. I have no idea why, except that it's kind of hard to explain. Well, at any rate, let me tell you something. I'm not going to outright say that it was deliberate, but I will say there was not one mistake that entire episode. Not one. As far as I know. Now, if we were to look at the episode, now there probably are mistakes that they put in after the original episode. But during the actual live episode, there was not one mistake. Now, after our episode would air, there was what they call post-production. So that's what I mean. If there's any mistakes, well, all that I will say is bless their hearts. It's all good, actually. But I will say, God does not play. I would caution anyone who doesn't think God exists, and I am as serious as I can get. You may not believe that there is a God. That's fine. But let me tell you something. I wouldn't mess with a Christian. I really wouldn't. An actual, bona fide, legitimate Christian. Now, why am I saying that? Because God protects his children. Does he protect you? Yes. But if you get baptized in Christ, immersed in the actual water, and you are a Christian, baptized in Christ, you have something that a whole lot of people don't. Now, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to proselytize. Here is evidence of what I say. This station staff would do some things that, let's just say, was not legitimate. I don't want to, you know what? Yeah, I do want to accuse them of it. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and deny the truth. No. The bottom line is, I don't know if they were directed to do it, but yes, it was deliberate. It happened on every TV series that was live. Matter of fact, it happened on pretty much every project. There was always some kind of mistake. It didn't matter if you were considered atheist or Christian or any, faith. Didn't matter if you were in the political left, or right. They, across the board, would make sure there was at least a mistake or two in every single production, except their own, because the station would create, quote unquote, their own content for fundraising purposes. I don't have a problem with that. But why was it there weren't any mistakes? But yet and still, every time there was a production, there were mistakes. I won't go there. It's okay. But here's what I will share with you. That station is gone. It's gone. It's closed down. It was around for like 30 some years. But then they started doing some things a year and a half, 2 years ago that was totally, totally ridiculous. And they don't exist anymore. That's right. Now we're working to see if we can get the station back. Only if we do, it's going to be done our way. It's going to be done the right way. And I can assure you, if there are live productions, we will have control and we will have a 5-second delay and we will do it right. But let me be very clear. Hold on, I got to do something here. Oh, goodness. Back's killing me. Well, it's not killing me. I apologize. That's not true. It's just because of that accident, I have to reposition myself sometimes. You know how it is, right? At any rate, they are gone. Gone. And I'll share with you what really was the end for them. As I told you, you had to pay money to do your production. You had to pay an annual membership. And then on top of that, you had to pay every production you would do, you had to pay for certain things. Well, like 2 years ago, in about early or mid 2022, they decided that they were going to dramatically increase the membership fee from like $100 to $250 a year. That's a $150 raise like that, right? I don't know the percentage, but it was bad. So, okay, that's bad enough. But, God blesses most of us. $250, we could have come up with it. But I stopped production shortly after that, and I'll tell you why. I didn't have a problem with the $250. But then he said, oh, and they put in a policy where you had to pay $100 every time you would do a production. See, the fee was $50 an hour, but the minimum was at least, even though you were only doing like a 1 hour series, or you might even be doing a half an hour, they wanted you to pay for a minimum of 2 hours. So every episode you would do, and if you were a producer who had multiple TV series and whatever, every time you got in front of that camera, they wanted $100 or more. So I took my calculator one time and I said to myself, and I had an idea, it would have been for us to keep production going with this defective, prehistoric so-called technology station, it would have been almost $2,000. Actually, I think it would have been more, but at least $2,000. We would have had to pay $2,000. And there were producers that did stay and put out a lot more than $2,000. But for us, it would have been like $2,000. I said, that's not going to happen. I'm not paying $2,000 to anybody. I should be getting paid because all the glory goes to God. And we were blessed to put on a very good, family-oriented, G-rated, but at times tough TV series, but a good product in spite of all the challenges. So I was like, That's why that Humanity Matters Live is not in production right now. But it will be again. You can be assured of that with God's mighty help. And it won't have let's just say, low standards production. There will be high production values. You can count on it. That being said, that is just some of the live TV series, talk show host, or whatever, just some of the challenges. But you, if you ever decide to do it, let's say you were in that same situation, get through it. And you'll thrive, especially since you have tools now. And I will tell you this. We had guests that at the last minute didn't show up and we were going live. And I also came up with a strategy that I had what I call a backup. I either had another guest ready to go, moment's notice, or I would do a different topic. And for the record, I had a lot of people from a lot of different lifestyles, a lot of different industries. You know, you can go on to my YouTube page and go to Humanity Matters playlist, and you will see clips and sometimes full episodes of many, many, many different episodes. Unfortunately, at the time, I did not think to always have our 1 hour episodes be 1 hour long, because I was thinking the YouTube attention span may or may not be willing to do that, the audience. So, for example, I had a really personally gratifying episode to us, myself and my co-host. Years ago, we were able to host a group of United States veterans. And I was recently rewatching it. Unfortunately, it was only the first 21 minutes. And so I have been looking and cannot find the rest of it here on YouTube. I know that it's here, but it's not showing up. And so that won't ever happen again. From now on, I do it the whole hour. And if people don't watch, that's fine. But I'm not going to do that and then not have the whole episode. It's just not the good idea. Besides, people could always come back to it, you know. But as a result, I don't have the entire episode, and it's a shame, because it was a powerful and sometimes even emotional for these veterans. It was a powerful, powerful show, an episode, and I was honored that I was blessed to be able to do that, and my co-hosts were honored. But, you know, the other thing where I was a pioneer is I would bring people on as guests and as co-hosts that you don't see on mainstream TV. You don't even see on stream TV in the context that I would put them on. I'll give you a perfect example. We had a friend, the late Chris Wise. He was considered morbidly obese. I don't remember his weight, but I think he was between 300 to 400 and some pounds. So by medical standards, he was morbidly obese. And I chose to ask Chris to be a co-host. So when he was on the episodes, he eventually became a fixture. And people didn't look at Chris for his weight or whatever other reason. They looked at him as an equal. They looked at him, and a lot of people were inspired. And he was morbidly obese. I had people with mental disabilities and physiological or physical as co-hosts at times. I had people from different faiths and different pigmentations. And I said to myself, of course, I have to do this because humanity really does matter. And I'm going to live it. And I don't care of the consequences. And so I did. Now, I'm not here to toot my own horn, if you want to use a silly phrase. All the glory goes to God. What I am proud of the fact, though, is that there are enough episodes on YouTube, that you can go ahead to the Albert Torcaso channel. Albert's the first name. Torcaso, Torcaso. Torcaso. And you can go to the playlist and look up one of the playlists, Humanity Matters. I think it's Humanity Matters. It may be Humanity Matters Live. I'll check after this, which is going to end in a couple of seconds here, or about a minute or so. At any rate, the evidence is there. And the evidence is clear. Yeah, I meant to do that rhyme, but it really is. And the beautiful part about YouTube that I do love is that it's dated. You can't really change that. So if somebody says, you made that up, look at the actual publishing date. I mean, they don't put the date. Hold up. Yes, they do. They put the date and the year. So any of my content or anybody's content, you can look and verify it by the date. In closing, if you become a TV talk show host, you are going to have challenges. If you get in anything similar to public access, you are going to have unexpected and sometimes outright frightening challenges. But you will, with God's mighty help, you're going to get through it. I love all of you. I appreciate the fact that anybody's here at this time of the morning. Like I said, it's after 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. California, it's after 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or Pacific Daylight Time. So we're looking at California is what up. Let me get an exact time. Give me a New York second. So in California, in the United States, it is 2:33 a.m. or around there. Now, if you happen to be in the Philippines and you tune in for a minute, it's like 2:33 p.m. No, excuse me, 3:33 p.m. Because in the winter, they are 13 hours ahead of where I am. I'm in the east of the United States. It's 3:33 p.m. over there in the Philippines right now and around the globe. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, okay. In closing, anybody can text me at any time at 412-559-2731. That's right, 412-559-2731. In our lives, we will have challenges. There will be, let's just say, mean people. Governments will oppress you. Governments will do many, many things to many people for whatever reason. I like to think the best reason that I can say it is they're evil. I will say that the United States is one of the best countries on earth. No, not in the context you may think that I'm going to say. So just hold the phone here. That's just a phrase I like to say. Overall, the United States is one of the best countries on the planet. Overall. But in many ways, because of the Democrats and the Republicans, it's also one of the most dangerous to live in. And I will share this closing thought with you, or thoughts. In the United States, if you go to a fast food restaurant, you order a cheeseburger, the things that are allowed in it are very dangerous to your health. Whereas if you get that same cheeseburger in the United Kingdom or England, it's much healthier. If you get it in the Philippines, much healthier. And many countries around the globe. Because our Democrats and Republicans allow it. Our Federal Drug Administration is a joke and a half. So if you buy a cheeseburger in the United States at a fast food restaurant, you're taking your life literally into your own hands. If you buy it in the Philippines, many, many different countries in Asia and Europe and other places, it's not the same. It's not the same. I don't want to call out any particular fast food company, but in the United States, there's a fast food company that has a yellow sign. The French fries are considered, in the United States version, considered some of the most dangerous and addictive on the planet. That company has 19 ingredients in their French fries. But in Europe and in England, they have like 4 ingredients. The rest of them are banned. And I don't even want to go there with regards to how an embarrassment it is that we don't have universal health care in the United States of America. And I don't care what people say, call it communism, socialism. I don't care if you call it clowning around. Here's what I know. Americans think we're so great. I love my country. But we are an abomination. Yeah, I said abomination. And we are allowing people to die every second of every day for lack of health care. But that's not the worst part of it. I'm going to tell my fellow Americans, it's time that you call Congress and demand universal health care. And when I tell you why, the most conservative person on earth, y'all need to call Congress. Or do you want to be worse than Adolf Hitler? I don't. Oh, you're probably thinking, uh-oh, what's this dude saying? Unfortunately, our government is worse than even Adolf Hitler in one way. He was one of the most evil men in history. He's disgusting. I won't even go there. He is evil and everything else. But you know what's disgusting? Germany has had universal health care. Now listen to this. Since the year of 1889. Germany has been taking care of their citizens since 1889. And yes, Hitler tried to kill an entire race of people. He is one of the worst in history. Yes. But isn't it bizarre that even that monster had universal health care still in place, from what I understand? Since 1889, Germany has taken care of their citizens. A lot of European countries, including the United Kingdom, has had it for I don't know how many years. But I want to go back to Germany. And I'm not picking on you, Germany, and my fellow Germans. In fact, I'm giving you a compliment. Germany has taken care of their men, women, and children since 1889. 1889. Let me share another little something. You remember how I told you we were live, right? Back in 2009 and 2010, we were working on getting the Affordable Health Care Act actually into law. What most of our fellow Americans may not know, there was a provision for universal health care. It was a Democratic Congress, not Republican, not in this case, a Democratic Congress with fellow Democrats who kept this country from having a law that would protect your life as it pertains to your health and your children. It was Democrats that wouldn't let it pass. The Affordable Health Care Act has a lot of great things in it. But our Health Care Act or bill or law is a joke. And it's a deadly joke. It's not a joke. It's a disgrace. Meanwhile, a dictator, a mass murderer of over 6 or 10 million people, Hitler, that evil monster, didn't even get rid of health care. I don't understand it either. Doesn't make any sense. But Germany has had it since 1889. So I'm challenging the most conservative American, libertarian American, Green Party American, Democratic Party American. Jot this number down. Do not crank call it, because you could get arrested. No joke. I'm going to give you the number for the comment line at the actual real White House. Do not play with this. Do not play with this, trolls, or you'll be trolling yourself to jail. No joking. Jot it down. White House comment line. 1-202 is the area code. 456-1111. 4 ones. I think they close about 3:30 or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And you can literally give comment for the president. And it doesn't matter who is the president. That's 1-202-456-1111. 1111. That's for the White House. You want to be an American patriot? Call Congress. 1-202-255-3121. You call and you ask to speak to your senators from your state or your representative. Why don't you ask them, how come every German has universal health care since the year, has had it since the year 1888? That's wrong. Time out. Every German since 1889. Just ask your Democrats and Republicans and independents, how is it that Germany has taken care of their citizens since 1889 and we don't? Ask them. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, I really don't. Ask them. You're paying their bills. Your taxes give them over $174,000 a year. Every member that is a Democrat or Republican, every member in Congress has a guaranteed $174,000 a year. That doesn't include anything else. Do you have a guarantee in the mall? Do you happen to have a guarantee that you're going to earn $174,000 a year? Do you? I don't think you do. You might. I don't think so. Do you know that when our government has a government shutdown, that those members in the Senate, the senators, keep getting their pay, their $174,000 a year? The men and women in Congress, the representatives, get their $174,000 a year. The president of the United States gets over I believe it's $250,000 a year or more. They work for us. They're our employees. That's what they're supposed to be, ladies and gentlemen. Our employees. The presidents, no matter what party they are, supposed to be our employees, the American people. But the employees keep their money during the government shutdown. But we, the people, the owners of this country, your mother and dad can get laid off during a government shutdown, could lose their job, could go homeless. You could be crying because you might not be able to eat. And you and I are the owners of the United States of America, collectively and individually. We're the owners right here, and you. But every American congressman and senator, they keep getting paid if they shut the government down. The employees get paid. But guess what? The government workers and millions of Americans, they get to be laid off. They get to be struggling. Now, people think I'm radical. I really don't care. Controversial? Bring it on, baby. What I am is a human being. What I am is a child of God. What I am is an American patriot. And I will call it out each and every time. If you do wrong, I don't care who you are. I'm going to call you out. Have I called out presidents of the United States on my live TV series? Yes. Oh, they were all Republicans. Wrong. I've called out Republican presidents, and I've called out Democratic presidents. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I went there. You want to know something else? Do you know that the penalty for treason is death? The death penalty. If you are accused and convicted of treason, it's the death penalty. I called a Democratic president a traitor, knowing what that meant. But I asked and requested that the president be held accountable, but get between 20 years to life in prison, 20 to life. I requested every member of the Republican Party who signed a bill, who passed a bill that put your lives and mine in danger even today. I said every Republican should be held for treason as a traitor. And every Democrat should be held for treason as a traitor. Oh, and by the way, I don't know what episode it is, but yes, it's here on YouTube. I called out presidents and called them traitors. Well, one president, actually. I would never want to see anyone be put to death like that, obviously. But that is officially, I don't know if it's still the law, but I'm pretty sure it is. What president did I call out? One that I like, one that I think is one of the best presidents we had over the last 50 or 60 years. One that I truly, truly, truly like. Didn't like all of his policies. Still to this day, I'm not pleased about that law that he signed. You see, it's called the National Defense Authorization Act. There is a section, a provision, that if you're called the T word, and when I say T word, you remember the events of 2001 in September? Yeah. So if you're called one of those, the T or a T, or if you're called an enemy combatant, and you're an American, and you're innocent, under the National Defense Authorization Act, do you know that they can take you, do whatever they want with you? You don't have a right to an attorney or fair trial or any of that because you're considered an enemy combatant. And there's even a provision that they could exterminate you. And on New Year's, one year during New Year's Eve, the United States Senate, with a lot of Democrats and a lot of Republicans, they passed the bill. That's why I called them traitors. Why did I call President Barack Obama what I called him? Because as president, one New Year's Eve, he signed it into law. Do I give a pass to anyone? No. You know who else I don't give a pass to? You're looking at him. Me, Albert Torcaso. If I do wrong, I hold myself accountable. And I will end with this. If you do not, start calling your members of Congress. I don't care where you are politically. Or call the White House comment line. I don't care where you are politically. We are not going to get the America we deserve. But hey, I know a way that we could get everything. And I have proof. You remember COVID and what it did to the economies of the planet? You remember COVID? Who would forget that? Well, there's one thing that COVID did that was delicious, nutritious, and wonderful. Okay, it wasn't delicious or nutritious. But there was one beautiful side effect of COVID globally. The majority of economies almost died. I know you're all thinking, yeah, but you don't get it. You don't get. I know there was tragedies. I don't mean that part. Here's what I mean. It proved beyond every shadow of a doubt that the world, the richest women and men on earth, depend on you for their money. You can name the richest people on earth. You know who's more powerful than the richest people on earth? You. Me. You want to know the real reason why there was surplus checks sent to so many Americans and so many companies got all this help and free money, if you will? It wasn't because they cared about you. That was the lie. You want to know the truth? The super rich behind closed doors demanded it. I'm not going to call out any names, but everything you buy, everywhere you go, stores, phones, you name it, your vehicles, those are the people who actually were behind you getting that money. Not officially. Because here's the thing, my fellow Americans and my fellow human beings, in closing, I don't care what your economy is, I mean, your political situation is. You could be in a communist country or Marxist or fascist or whatever it is. And you still have the power to stop the evil. And it's in your purse. It's in your wallet. It's in your bank account. Wherever it is. The most power, one of the most, not the most, but one of the most powerful tools, my fellow Americans and my fellow human beings, is your money. For those of you who may be thinking, I'm poor, Al, you can be the poorest person in America, but you still have more power than any president ever had. You really think that Elon, Jeff, Bill, the late Steve Jobs, or any of those men or women hold the power? That's the illusion. And that's the delusion. You could be working in a fast food restaurant. You have more power than the president of the United States. Financially, you do. Now, let me give you a good, quick demonstration. Real fast. Have you ever gone into a store in your life? Have you ever bought items at a store? Of course you did. You made that choice to go to that store. Whatever reason, you took part of your power and gave them your money. Let's say you stream one of these premium companies. I'm not going to say which ones. You're giving them your money. You're powerful. Without you, no business thrives. Without us collectively. So, how do we get any government on the globe to listen to us? We use the COVID-19 method. The COVID-19 method. You heard what I said. We dramatically eliminate the money and the amount that we spend. Let's pretend that you put out $1,000 every month. Cut it down to $500. Make do with it. You did it during COVID-19. You can do it today. Will there be hardship for all of us? You better believe there's going to be. But here is what should make you smile. Not for long. Because I guarantee you the richest people on earth, If you cut down, if the majority of Americans dramatically cut their spending, they'd be calling every politician on the planet, well, everyone in America, in Congress at least, and they'd be calling the president, no matter who it is. They'd be like, we got to fix this. Because they are addicted to money. So again, you have the power. You have the power. I have the power. With that, I love all of you. Let us put our foot down legally, ethically, morally, spiritually. And let us show all people who would use us, abuse us, and allow us to get sick and die. Let us show them that we're going to stop this in its tracks. Take their money away. My fellow Americans, take their money away. Whatever you're putting out per month, cut it down 10%. Or be bold and courageous. Cut it down by 50%. And watch what happens if we do this collectively. Promise you one thing. It will have a reaction. I love you. Y'all have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night. Hey, you can do this because each and every one of you have genius in you.